Grandmother's house. Sometimes I went back in my sleep. Besides the times in my dreams, I pushed aside the idea of returning. There was a new language to learn, new fears, a new way of life. And yet there must have been at the back of my mind all along, Cyprus, Grandma, me. I left my place of birth when I was 15, young enough to have been happy, but old enough to remember. And even if there were 2 or 3 more years left to make my childhood complete, I feel I have been cheated of so many more memories. It's been 10 years since I left Cyprus. What do I know that is worth being 10 years older? Only that it's time I return to where I have once started. Grandma? Yaya? Yaya?
Στο καιρό εκείνο, ότε ήλκησε ο Ιησούς εις Ιεροσόλυμα και ήρθεν εις φαγή προς όρος των ελαιών, τότε απέστειλεν 2 μαθητάς λέγον αυτοίς, πορεύστε εις την πόλη την απέναντι ημών, και Θεός ευρύσσεται όλων δεδεμένη και πόλων μεταξύ, λύσαντες αγάγετε εμείς, και αν της κοιμηθεί πίστη έρχεται ότι ο Κύριος αυτόν διανέγει, ευθέως δε αποστελεί αυτού.
I used to think, if there is heaven, Grandma would go there for sure. With Easter coming, the schools would shut for 2 weeks, and I would look forward to spending them with Grandma. We dyed the eggs and made flaunas with cheese filling, pastry, and sesame seeds. Midnight Easter Saturday. All the lights in the church would go off, all except the candle the priest would hold. It represented Christ and the rebirth of faith. From that one candle, all the candles the people held were lit. We had to take the holy light home, but it would go out all the time, and we would have to relight it from a neighbor going home the same way. That's my Auntie Evridiki. Grandma's sister. Their houses are joined. That's Uncle singing, and the whole neighborhood knows it. You can hear the men talking and throwing the dice at the cafe behind Grandma's house. It's spring and I'm back. It's warm, busy and noisy. By the afternoon, the whole city smells of blossom and souvlaki. It makes me feel like it was only yesterday I was growing up. The place has changed. The people grown older. I try to ignore that. I see only what I want to see. Things that remain the same and suit my memories. This is Limassol, my city.
Περνούν τα σύρματα με τα τηλεφωνήματα κι ανάβουνε τα αίματα και βράδια και απογέματα. Δεν μου φτάνουν δυο ζωές να μεθώ με τα φιλιά σου. Γνώρισα καρδιές πολλές, μα καμιά σαν τη δικιά σου.
Dana is my auntie's and uncle's granddaughter. She tells me.
About a week ago, before you came, Grandma did all the house. She did a good spring cleaning. She moved all the furniture and she made me climb up the ladder about 10 times to get the curtains down and put them back on and everything. She took the beds off and put them in the sun and she did everything. And I was moaning because every time I came, the place was in a mess. And I used to moan, "What are you doing all this spring cleaning for?" "Well, Anna's coming, Anna's coming." "So what if she's coming?" Big deal.
Grandma made me sweets and savories that would have taken her days. She placed everything nicely on a table. It looked as if there was going to be a party. Old toys and little dresses I had, she found and put them all on my bed, along with many more she had sewn for me.
Παντρευτήκαμε Άννα μου και δεν έκαμε μωρά.
Grandma tells me, "We got married, Anna, but we couldn't have children."
Ο άντρας μου να κάνουμε μωρά. Και πιάσαμε τη μάμα όταν ήταν 9 χρονών.
We adopted your mom when she was 9 years old.
Ο άντρας μου να πιάσουμε αναγιωτούν, αλλά δεν ήθελα, νόμιζα πως δεν θα το αγαπούσα.
My husband always wanted us to adopt a child, but I never wanted to. I thought I'd never come to love her. Later on, I learned that both your grandparents had died, and your mother became an orphan. Because of that, and also the fact that I kept having dreams where your grandmother wanted to tell me something and wouldn't, well, I was very much influenced by those dreams and decided to adopt your mom. The poor thing was very unlucky. Only 2 years later, my husband suddenly died. What would I have done? I loved her. I couldn't send her back. In the olden days, they would teach the eldest girl sewing in order to sew for the rest of her family. Well, I decided, since I knew how to sew, that I would raise and educate her. My family also helped. My mother, my sister. She was studying. She was still very young when she fell in love with another student. He seemed like a nice man, and they married. But it was an unlucky marriage. He was a dreamer, so they separated. From their marriage, my daughter had 3 children. First was Anna, who was named after me.
Νόμιζα πως ξαναγεννήθηκα εγώ. Τόσο χάρηκα.
I was so depressed all the years since my husband died that when Anna was born, it was as if I was reborn. That's how happy I became. At the end of my holidays, I would pack my things, kiss Grandma, and go home. Home. One day, I went to revisit home. It was empty. It was very quiet. It reminded me of summer afternoons when everybody would have a rest. George and Nino, my brothers, wearing their white singlets. I can just see them. They are hot, but they're asleep. My parents are asleep. That's why it is so quiet. It's a summer afternoon and we're all asleep. I must be dreaming. I have a smile on my face. When you're a child, you feel so good because you're innocent. The world is white like the sheets you sleep in. I paint a picture. My parents like it, and I want to be a painter, a dancer, an actress when I grow up.
Πάμε λιμέλημα εκκλησιών δικαιοσύνη Βασίλειος ο Θεός τάξης την ψυχήν αυτού. Εάν θα δίκαιοι αναπαύονται τα ελέτη Θεού την βασιλεία των ουρανών και άφηση των αυτού αμαρτιών, παρά Χριστό το αθανάτο Βασιλεί και Χριστόν του Κυρίου δεηθόμεν. Ο Θεός των πνευμάτων και πάσης σαρκός εδώ θάνατον καταπατήσεις, των δε διάβολων καταργήσεις και ζωή του κόσμου στον περιστάμενος της Κυρία ανάπαυσα. Και την ψυχήν του και κοιμημένου δούλου του Δημητρίου, εν τα αποφωτεινού, εν τα αποχλώρου, εν τα παναψύξεως, εν τα πετραδίνη, λίγη και συνεμός.
I thought if I returned to Cyprus, I would be able to return to my childhood. It was as if the plane was a time machine. I was disappointed because time didn't wait for me. There was the feeling of being too late, and the only time machine there was my memory. I have many memories of when Grandma and I would go on trips to a wedding or a religious celebration somewhere in the country. Sometimes we would visit monasteries in the mountains, spend a few nights there, and go to Mass. St. George's Day, a religious fair outside the church. It's all very familiar. Grandma buys me things. Maybe she ignores time also. A village wedding. It's the custom that the groom is shaved by the village baba and dressed with the help of the men and violins. The women help the bride. Anyone can sing a song about the bride and her family. The mother and father cross the bride 3 times with a scarf, give her their wishes and give her away. The groom's father accompanies the groom to the church, followed by their friends and relatives. The bride's father and friends follow the bride. After the ceremony, the whole village is invited to celebrate with the couple. In the olden days, they would offer the couple a gold coin and a song as an expression of love and wishes. Nowadays, they pin pound notes on their bed and on the bride and groom. They dance with the bed for the happiness of the couple who'll be sleeping on it. Grandma loves weddings. Maybe these days she doesn't go to many, unless with a friend. When I was young, she would organize for me to be the flower girl who holds the decorated candle or the bride's dress or something. I would have a ball. But I didn't grow up wanting to be a bride. When I was maybe 6, she said to me, "I have one wish, to see you a bride." I can still remember. I was coming down from my auntie's place and she was standing at the bottom of the stairs. I have managed to ignore her direct or indirect hints on the subject 3 letters. But now that I'm back, she tells me she wants to make me my bridal dress before she loses her eyesight. That's getting weaker. First there was the breakup of my parents, then the overthrow of the government and the war. Turkey invaded Cyprus in 74. The battles took place mainly in the north. Limassol, where we lived, is in the south, about 70 kilometers away. But even after things had quietened down, there was a constant feeling of hopelessness and of no future. I remember my mother, my brothers and myself sitting at a pier discussing whether we should leave behind all this. Australia sounds like a great country, my mother said, and it was up to us to decide. A trip, an adventure, a country with a future. I had made up my mind. I wonder if I would have decided the same had I known what I know now. I have two countries, both very beautiful in their own ways. Australia is still a country of future, but Cyprus the country of my past. There is also Grandma. I don't want to leave her. I can't stay. I can't take her with me. She's much happier here in the long run, even without us.
Μη μου θυμώνεις μάτια μου που φεύγω για τα ξένα πουλί θα γίνω και θα ρθώ πάλι κοντά σε σένα. Ανοίξ το παραθύρι σου, ξανθέ βασίλικε μου, και με γλυκό χαμόγελο